Hello, students, and welcome to our lesson for Friday, November 5th. We will today review solving and graphing inequalities and writing our solutions in interval notation. So let's get centered and get yourself quietly confident in yourself. Today we'll do our review lesson in Schoology. If you're listening to this, you're already there. We do have a fun sliding puzzle exit ticket for you, and we have some homework today, number 2 to 16, even problems. So remember, you need to be bringing your Chromebook to school every day. Complete your lesson, make sure it's hole punched, and put it in your binder. Complete your exit ticket. I can tell who's worked their exit ticket, so make sure you do it. And those are the things that make a difference when it's time for grading. Make sure your homework is on your page and it is packed away. Actually, your homework is the same page as your lesson today. And go into Schoology, make sure all your assignments are complete. So hopefully you have your paper, your binder, your computer open. You kind of got yourself mentally prepared and ready, and let's start the lesson. So, first thing I want to remind you is that our new algebra curriculum has begun arriving at Benny Dover. So, you need to bring your Chromebook every day to school. This is a computer-based curriculum, and that's how we're going to be doing the majority of our work. So, our first inequality, the first thing we want to do is distribute. So, we have negative 8x. Negative times a negative is positive 32, minus 3 is less than or equal to 5. So let's combine like terms. We will combine 32 minus 3, which gives us negative 8x plus 29 is less than or equal to 5. And we will subtract 29 from each side. Which leaves us with negative 8x is less than or equal to negative 24. And then we will divide both sides of this inequality by negative 8, which means, because we're dividing by a negative, we will flip the inequality symbol to have x is greater than or equal to negative 24 divided by negative 8 is positive 3. So that's going to be a solid dot graphed to the left, and an interval notation, a bracket, 3, comma, infinity, parenthesis. So please, let's do the next one on your own. Pause the video before you have me do it. Okay, number 3, let's change our color. First thing we need to do is distribute. That would give us 7 minus 5. Negative times a negative is a positive. Positive 4x. And then we distribute on the other side is less than 2 times 3, 6x, plus 2 times 8 is 16. So let's combine like terms. 7 minus 5 is 2, plus 4x is less than 6x plus 16. And let's move a couple of ways we can do it. I'm going to move the 6x. I usually don't do that, but I will. I'm going to have a negative 2x, but I want to remind you of something. So we'll move the 6x, which gives us 2 minus 2x is less than 16. And now let's go ahead and move the 2 over. We'll subtract that from each side, which will give us negative 2x is less than is less than 14. Okay, now we're dividing by negative 2, so we need to flip the inequality, which means x is greater than, or here we go, greater than -7. So let's find our -7. I didn't leave much room here. Here's our -7. Oops. And that should be an open circle. And our interval notation, -7, comma, infinity. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Again, Chromebook every day to school. And if you need to do something with your Chromebook, get it repaired, get it replaced, I need you to follow up on that. Okay, so we've got an OR inequality here. So let's solve each side separately. So if we add 2 to each side of the first one, we have x is less than -9, or -3x is less than, let's divide by -3, which will give us, flip the inequality symbol, x is greater than or equal to 6. So final answer, x is less than -9, or x is greater than or equal to 6. So let's graph that. So we have an open circle here, -9, and a closed circle at 6. And our interval notation, always parenthesis with infinity and negative infinity. A bracket for the closed circle, which means that 6 is included as a part of the solution set. And there's our final answer. So let's go on to number 7. Okay, so the first thing we want to do with this inequality is multiply both sides by -2. And then we're working only on the left side inequality now. That means we need to flip the inequality sign to greater than. -8 times -2 is 16. We'll add 5 to both sides. 3x is greater than 21. Divide both sides by 3. And x is greater than 7. Okay, on the right side, I'm going to rewrite this and use another color. So we have 11 minus 4x is greater than 19. So the first thing I want to do is add the 11 to each side. I'm sorry, subtract 11 from each side. It's a positive, so we'll add it. So we have -4x is greater than 19 minus 11 is 8. And now we divide both sides by -4, which means we need to flip the inequality. So x will be less than -2. So our final answer here, x is less than -2, or x is greater than 7, which we will graph. So here's our -2 open circle, and our +7 open circle, and our interval notation is all parentheses, negative infinity, -2, or 7 infinity parenthesis. Okay, number 9. And please, please, please try these on your own before you watch me do them. So we have an and type inequality here for number 9. So the first thing we want to do is isolate x. So let's add 5. Which will give us negative 9 is less than 3x is less than 6. And now we will divide everything by 3 so that we can isolate x, which will give us negative 3 is less than x, and x is less than 2 as a final answer. So we've got open dots here on negative 3 and 2, which we will connect, and that is our solution set, which will be written with parentheses, 3, negative 2, and we are done. Let's move on to number 11. Absolute value. Okay, first thing we do, isolate absolute value. That is done. Step 1 is done. Step 2, make 2 cases. The first case, we keep the absolute value problem. We remove the bars and keep everything the same. In the second case, the left side of the inequality is the same. We flip the inequality symbol and we take the opposite of the sign on the right side. And then we solve each one of these separately. So we will add 7 to both sides. X is greater than or equal to 9. And here we'll add 7 to each side. X is less than or equal to negative 2 plus 7 is 5. So our answer is x is less than or equal to 5, or x is greater than or equal to 9. In interval notation, we're going to find that 5, solid dot, graph to the left, and our 9, which would be right here, solid dot, graph to the right. In interval notation, remember for infinity and negative infinity, we use parentheses. So negative infinity, 5 bracket or bracket 9 comma infinity parentheses, and that's the interval notation for that problem. So now number 13, don't forget to bring your Chromebook every day to school. You absolutely are going to need it every day in algebra. So first we need to isolate absolute values, so we'll add 9 to each side, which will give us the absolute value of 9x is greater than 72. Now that absolute value is isolated, we make 2 cases. So we remove the absolute value bars. 9x is greater than 72. And then we solve the second case. 9x is less than negative 72. And we'll divide both sides by 9. And on the left side inequality, we have x is greater than 8. On the right side, we divide both sides by 9. And we have x is less than negative 8. So our solution, x is less than negative 8, or x is greater than 8. So let's go ahead and graph that on our number line. With an open circle, graph to the left on -8, an open circle, graph to the right on +8, and then our interval notation will be all parentheses. And that's it. And on to our last problem. I'm leaving the rest of the problems for you for homework. The first thing we want to do here is I would first add 8 to each side. Which gives me 3 times the absolute value of x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 9. Now we're going to divide both sides by 3. Let me change the color. Which gives me, I'll write it up here, the absolute value of x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 3. Now that's my absolute value isolated. So now I make two cases. I know I'm going to run out of room here, so I'm going to work in my margins. I have x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 3, and I have x plus 4 is less than or equal to -3. Now I will subtract 4 from each side of the first inequality, which gives me x is greater than or equal to -1. So I have on the right side, subtract 4 from each side, which gives me x is less than or equal to -7. So my final answer, x is less than or equal to -7, or x is greater than or equal to -1. So I will be graphing this with closed dots. So we have -7, graphing to the left, -1, graphing to the right, and then my interval notation, -∞, comma, -7, bracket, or bracket, -1, comma, infinity, parenthesis, and that's the problems for today. Now, you do have an exit ticket. I'd like you to go there. I don't know if I can do that in this video. Let's try. We'll see if it works. Ah, there it is. It even worked. So you know how to do these. They're a lot of fun. You move them around. You got to get it in order. And when you do, it will reveal the rules. Look at that. I almost have it done already. I don't want to do everything. When you finish that, you will have revealed the rules for absolute value inequalities. So make sure you do that exit ticket. Make sure you check Schoology. Make sure that you submit all your homework as indicated in Schoology. Thank you. You've worked hard. Remember, everybody can do this, but it takes practice. And with practice, you'll be great.